All right, well, thanks for coming, guys. I just kind of want to talk about the new direction I'd like to take the Mercworks team in. So we had an original team of 5 guys from the Port Angeles Fire Department that in 2010 went back to Haiti after the earthquake. And we weren't really sure what we were going to do when we got there. It was kind of fly by the seat of our pants. We were just going to hope for the best, and actually the best did turn out. But there were some things that happened that made our mission successful. And some of those things that basically we ran into an organization that provided us a shelter at night. It was a Christian school. They had a walled compound. They were sharing half of the compound actually with the U.S. military, so we were very safe at night. They provided us a translator. They also provided us a driver and helped us interact with other agencies, so we had a successful mission. So what we were provided by having a safe shelter, translators, drivers, made our mission successful. So we've been wondering since 2010, what can we do? How can we repeat the success that we had several years ago? Because since then, people have come up to me and said, John, are you guys going to go? An earthquake has happened since then, so the people come up and say, hey, are you guys going to go on that mission type of work again? Or if you ever do something like that, I'd like to go out with you guys. So there's definitely been interest from other people. So first glitch. All right, battery's done. So, what will the new mission be? Well, I basically told you kind of what made our last mission a success, and that was getting all of those extra resources provided to us. So now the new goal is for us to go into a disaster area and try to get in within the first 48 hours. Be very, expedient in our entry into the country or to the disaster area if it's within the United States. And the goal is to obtain the critical information, such as locate places that teams could lodge at, find drivers, transportation resources, translators, also assess basically the roads going into the disaster area. Is there drinkable water? What type of communications are still up and running in that disaster area, as far as is the phone lines still working, is the satellite or is cellular still working, internet, things like that. And then what we would have is we'd have partner teams, other small disaster aid teams that we would be relaying this information to, because that type of information was useful for us years ago, and any disaster in the future, that type of information is going to be useful to the teams coming in. So that would be our team's goal, is to get in country, assess those needs, assess those assets, try to locate them, and then relay that information back home to the incoming teams. Also, we may have partner agencies that we're working with, and they may have certain goals that they are trying to accomplish, and they may need information about those type of goals that they have. So if we can, we'll assess their particular team's needs and try to relay that information back as well. So some examples of the partner agencies that we would be relaying this information back to. Rotary Shelter Box teams, Team Rubicon, which is basically it's a team of ex-military that have been joined with EMS providers, and then they go out and do disaster aid work. They do a lot of international and a lot of domestic type of disaster work. Impact Northwest, which is again another Washington State-based small disaster aid team. I believe it was founded by a firefighter out of the Paulsville area, and there's many other small teams that would benefit from the type of information that we'd be relaying back. Medical Teams International, there's a lot of faith-based organizations and a lot of independent, non-faith-based organizations that will benefit from our type of services. So, as Mercworks, sorry, skipped a couple slides. So the organizational logistics of Mercworks. We would host pre-deployment trainings. We would create and maintain those partner organization relationships. If a disaster actually happens, we'll have to get together and decide, are we going to deploy a team or not? And then we also have to decide if we get 15 individuals say, John, we'd like to deploy on this mission, well, we're going to have to determine who's going. We then notify team members, select and assign teams, communicate with those partner agencies saying, yes, we are going to be going into this disaster, and we will try to relay information to you within a certain time period. And then if we deploy a team into a disaster area, there's also going to be kind of the home base logistics, and they'll be supporting the teams while they're away. Whether, if a team calls in with a sat phone and says, hey, we need transportation from this airport to here, can you book those flights for us? Because it'll be much easier for somebody at home on the internet to do that type of work versus us out in the field trying to book our own flights. So the team logistics, we're going to try to maintain a core team of about 4 individuals. That makes traveling much easier. You can get on a Cessna 182 versus having to charter a larger airplane. Moving around is much easier. When you're a small team, logistics are easier. But you will probably pick up add-on members. Again, when we were in Haiti, we ended up picking up a driver, a translator, and we also picked up a trauma surgeon and 2 nurses. So the team does have the ability to expand, but when we leave home base, it'll probably be a team of 4 individuals. Again, the deployment time frame, so if an incident happens, we would like to have the team deploying within 48 hours. And the team composition is based on, so basically, who's going to get picked to go on the team? Well, traits that we'll definitely be looking at are personalities, because if you're going into a disaster area, you really need to get along with the people you're going with. So travel experience in third world countries is a big one. Language skills, previous military experience, medical or EMS training, rescue training, all of those types of skill sets will be kind of assessed when teams are put together. And obviously another big one is availability. You have to have the ability to drop what you're doing and leave within 48 hours for a short period of time. Also, we'll have 1 team leader. However, we'll try to have the teams make decisions as a team. However, there are times when you need a single person in charge making a single decision or representing the team when you're in country. So before we send people in country, a team leader will be designated. Again, we said a team is probably going to be 4 people. But again, if we have a lot of individuals that say, John, I want to go in the field, and we have, let's say, 8 people say, we can definitely leave within the next 48 hours, we can field multiple teams. However, we weren't going to send all 8 of you to the same spot. We'll try to spread you out geographically so each team is assessing their own independent information. There may be a little overlap, that way they can, if one team is having difficulties in one area or if there's a safety concern, they can back each other up. But we'll try to also not have them staying in the exact same places assessing the exact same information. We'll try to spread them out a little bit. So, what kind of commitment, if you say, yeah, you know what, I want to be part of this type of disaster A team, what does that mean? Well, we'll probably have team training about once a year, and that approximately takes 7 days. And it depends on the instructors that we get. And so, what does that mean? Well, we might offer classes on how to, basically survival classes, also how to deal with, Forrest, can you kind of explain the things that you were talking about?
Yeah, so, I mean, you get into a situation in another country where especially in a disaster situation, you don't know what you're coming into, and you don't know what type of things might turn south when you get into the country. So there are some instructors in the area that would teach escape and evasion techniques and basically fieldcraft techniques. So fieldcraft being techniques to better have rapport, to build the relationships that we need in the field to do the things that we're there to do. So basically just that networking. And then survival techniques for how to, you know, if there really is no place there for a better shelter, how to build our own shelter in a way that we can stay dry or warm or cold or whatever it is that we need to be comfortable in that environment to the best of our abilities while still being safe and together as a team.
You bet. Now the other time commitment too is how long are our missions going to be? Average would be 7 to 10 days. Max we'd shoot for is 12. In the fire service, if you're a firefighter, if you're working a modified Detroit, you take off 3 shifts. That would allow you to cover that period of time. Also, how much money would this possibly cost you? Well, that is mission dependent as far as airfare, food, travel expenses, and we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a minute. Also, team members would need a passport and also talk to a travel medicine individual and have all your vaccines. And that would be a part of the team training. Is we'll have a travel physician come in, talk to us about different geographic areas through the world and what type of special medical needs that we would need to watch out for ourselves. So, team member financing. The organizational goal of Mercworks is hopefully 0 out of pocket for the team members. Now, the worst case scenario would be that you'd have to cover all of your own expenses, such as travel expenses, your own gear, getting your own shift trades or taking vacation time, things like that. However, in reality, it'll probably be a cost sharing. Depends on how well Mercworks can fundraise. But in reality, for probably the first year or two, it'd be a cost sharing. So Mercworks pay for some things, and then you as an individual might have to cover some costs as well. Also, I would highly recommend to team members that are interested that you have a short or long-term disability insurance. That way, if you go out of country and you get hurt, you can't come straight back to work, that you're covered for a while. Also, health insurance is a good thing to have, and you might want to check, make sure it's good in foreign countries. So the organization finance, again, the goal would be that team members going into the field don't have to pay anything out of pocket. So how can the organization generate funds? At Paratech, I teach rescue classes. I would love to offer classes that basically all the profits from those go into Mercworks to help fund that team. Also, community organizations such as church, unions, business groups as Rotary, Soroptimists, things like that. We can go and talk to those type of groups and try to fundraise that way. Also, crowdfunding websites. There's basically websites where you can put a proposition or a proposal out there describing it, and if people are interested in it and feel that their money would be well spent there, they can actually donate online to your organization. And then also personal donations. What are expenses? Satellite phones and communication units, website fees to keep, that's how we're gonna basically represent our organization is through website. Fees for translators, lodging, transportation, also travel fees, and then team gear such as water filters, shelters, uniforms, things like that. So you got every team's going to have its radar O'Reilly, somebody back at home, kind of keep us straight and narrow. So the home base is going to be a clearinghouse for information. So we're going to go out, collect information that needs to be sent to our partner agencies. Well, the best way to do that is to actually send it back to our home base, and then somebody there running logistics can then kind of parse out that information to the different agencies that need it. They can do that through website updates, emails, phone calls, things like that. They can also, when we're in country, that'll be a perfect time to go for funding. So we need somebody back here at home who could go to those local organizations and maybe make a presentation on our behalf. Also do news releases. Also, like I said before, team logistics. We get in country or get into a disaster area and we need outside assistance, maybe as far as research or making phone contacts for us, things like that. Well, we call back to home base on our sat phone or cell phone or however we can make contact, and we have them do that type of work for us. So there'll also be a home base component to Mercworks. So kind of a tentative timeline. Looking to get at least 6 committed team members. Say, yeah, John, this sounds like something I'd like to participate in, and then we'll move forward from there. Hoping by March 1st to get 6 individuals to say, yeah, that sounds like something I'd like to do. And then once that happens, we'll start contacting tentative partner agencies, explaining to them what our mission is, and getting them signed up and on board with it. Again, shooting for April 30th of this year to kind of at least get several dozen partner organizations signed up. Begin fundraising and making capital purchase such as satellite phones. Already have one sat phone and other satellite devices, but again, there's more team gear that needs to be purchased. So we'll be working on fundraising and getting those things in line. And then team training and getting ready for deployment. I'd love to be ready for deployment by September 1st. So my wife thinks that's a little ambitious, but I think it can definitely be done. So kind of play it by ear. Secondary team. So you may be interested in this, but say, hey, John, going into a third world country right after a disaster without any resources doesn't really sound like my cup of tea. However, if you get in country with a team and get things set up, nice place to stay, food, water, those type of things kind of hammered out, yeah, I'd be interested in going in on a secondary team. At Mercworks, we'd love to help form teams to go in afterwards and do mission type work, or we can help you hook up with one of our partner agencies that are maybe looking for volunteers. So we're definitely, if going into the country right after disaster is not your thing, but you're still interested in participating, again, contact us, let us know, because we'll try to help you get on secondary teams as well. So now what? Well, again, I'm still looking for those 6 individuals that are really interested in participating. If you are, just let me know. You can also email me if people are watching this on YouTube and say, hey John, how do I get a hold of you? Give me an email there. And just let me know a little bit about yourself. And as far as, background, you have training in EMS or rescue, done a lot of travel to third world countries, any other type of mission work, please include that in the email. And once I receive that, I'll get a hold of you and we'll go from there. So that's it for the slides. Did you guys have any kind of questions?